How's it going, everybody? Five's back for Delinquent Velociraptor Media. This is not Pokemon. Um, so before I was a Pokemon player, I was a Magic the Gathering player. I've been playing Magic for a little more than a decade now, and I've been playing Magic Online for about 4 years now. The big thing I mostly play is Modern, as you can see by all of these, and I like a couple of things. I like creature decks, I like weird decks, and I like relatively inexpensive decks. Over time I've collected, the foothills, the windswept heaths, my fetch lands, my shock lands, whatever. Um, Path to Exile. And what I usually end up doing is I reuse the mana base I've built up to play all sorts of random things. What we're going to do today is we're going to play some Modern with what is probably my favorite deck, and the one I have a version of in paper. I actually have roughly this Naya Allies list in paper. We're going to play 4-color Allies. And what makes 4-color Allies great is Collected Company, because this card's ridiculous. I look at the top 6 cards of your library. Put 2 creature cards with converted mana cost 3 or less onto the battlefield. There's just so many things this does, and I like the guy in the background where we're running around with his shield there like he's late. I think that's funny. But this card's fantastic. This card is fantastic for allies. This is one of the only decks I know of that my opponent can Wrath away everything I have. End of turn, I company for 2 creatures, untap, play 2 other creatures, and do 20 damage. Just immediately after being Wrathed, if I have the right things. It's contingent on having those right things, but this deck plays so many creatures and can be really consistent. It's not top tier by any means, and I am playing a slightly below average version of it because I am playing Ally Encampment, which produces mana of any color as long as I'm using it for an ally, and will return an ally to my hand in a pinch if I need to. Sweet card. I am not playing Cavern of Souls. That is for budget reasons. That card's even expensive. That card's expensive even on Magic Online. So, it's maybe not optimal. I know some other people play Aether Vial. I don't really consider that necessary, but I can understand why they do. That's totally cool. So I'm gonna run through the deck with you guys, and let you see this in action, and in particular let you see why we go 4 colors. So Jwari Shapeshifter, 2 mana. It's basically a clone, but it's a clone only for allies. But that's fine. It is a 2 mana, no drawback clone in this deck. It's fantastic. And there's a lot of good things to clone that, things that come from Collected Company. And the way I don't understand all of Magic's layers, there's a lot of them. There's probably too many, but that's what makes the game complex and interesting. So triggers. You're going to see a lot of triggers with this deck, and what's nice about Magic Online is as long as you make a default set when the first trigger comes up the first time, it will repeat that every turn thereafter for that specific instance of that trigger, which is a lot easier than playing this deck is in paper. Remembering all your triggers is much more complicated, but Magic Online does all of it for you. It's fantastic. So let's start with the creatures. In the 1-drops, we have Expedition Envoy, which is just a 1-drop ally, and it's just so we're playing more 1-drop allies. The better of the 2 1-drop allies is definitely Hada Freeblade, because it's a 0/1 for 1, but whenever it or another ally enters the battlefield, 1/1 counter on Hada Freeblade. It builds up very quickly. Envoy is just there because we need more 1-drops. We'll get to the Reckless Bushwhacker in a minute. Expedition Envoy is in part for, helping us reach what we need to for Reckless Bushwhacker. Undo Cleric, which is not something I actually played originally, but this card's ridiculous. It is whenever it or another ally enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to the number of allies you control, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you drop it with 3 allies already in play, you gain 4 life. If that was off of a collected company, you gain that 4 life, and then 4 or 5 more life. Magic Online will do the math for me, it's fine. For the ally that came in alongside it, it just kind of gets out of hand, and there's some decks that just can't beat it if they let it live. Jwari Shapeshifter to copy whatever we need it to copy. And then probably the best card ally-wise in the deck, Kazandu Blademaster. Double white for a 1/1 with First Strike and Vigilance. It isn't terrible, but it's not amazing. What makes this card just ridiculously good, if you can get it on turn 2, whenever it or another ally enters the battlefield, more +1/+1 counters. So just playing it, you're paying 2 mana for a 2/2 with First Strike and Vigilance that's just going to keep getting bigger. Nothing can block it successfully. It's fantastic. I love this card. Akum Battlesinger. This card is dumb. 1 in a red for a 1/1 with haste. When it or another ally enters the battlefield, you may have allied creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. If you play like 4 of these in a turn, or like Collected Company at the end of turn for 2 of these, and then play 2 more of these, it's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage for a couple of 1/1s. It's a great card. Oran Reef Survivalist. It's another one of the when it or another enters +1/+1 counters. And in this Harabash Druid, I'm a little iffy on. Some people play it, some people don't. You get mana equal to the number of allies you control, so it's like a Bird of Paradise that just makes a crap ton of mana if you have a lot of allies. It's the kind of thing that I can only have 2 mana, like two lands. But if I have, 2 or 3 allies, at the end of turn I tap this and those 2 lands, Collected Company when I only had 2 lands, which is fantastic. Kabira Evangel gives all my allies protection from a color when it or another ally enters the battlefield. So if you play it and another ally, multiple colors of protection, which is great for swinging through things we're not big enough to swing through normally. Mirror Entity is a changeling shapeshifter from Lorwyn block. You pay X into it until end of turn. Creatures you control have base power and toughness X, and gain all creature types. So if I pay like 4 mana into Mirror Entity, Kazandu Blademaster becomes a 4/4. Then you add all of the counters on top of that, and you can get some ridiculously big creatures playing Entity. It's a little slow, especially for Modern, but I think it's worth running 1. And since it is a shapeshifter and, it's a changeling, it is every creature type, it also triggers as an ally. And then Reckless Bushwhacker, we got this one relatively recently in our most recent run of allies. When it enters the battlefield, if its surge cost was paid, which surge requires you have cast anything else in that turn prior to it, creatures you control get +1/+0 and haste until end of turn. So it's like Battlesinger, except it also gives haste, except it doesn't trigger constantly. But definitely still worth playing a couple of those. Non-creatures, 2 Path to Exile, because you have to. 2 Dramoka's Command. I just really like this card. I'm not actually sure if it's good enough to play. Preventing all damage from an instant or sorcery can be good to keep things alive. +1/+1 and having a creature fight something is a good way to clear out blockers. Collected Company, because this is what makes the deck work. This card is just so good. Sideboard. 1 more Path. 2 Rest in Peace, because there are a lot of graveyard decks in Modern. 2 Stony Silence to shut off artifacts. This is, shuts off Tron pieces, or, their ability to search for some Tron pieces, some things in Affinity, stuff like that. 2 Lantern Scout, which is more life gain. So this is basically if you play Burn. When it or another ally enters the battlefield, all allies, or all creatures you control, in this case all allies, gain lifelink until end of turn. I don't think Lantern Scout's as good as Ondu Cleric, but situationally it can be better. 1 Fire Mantle Mage. It gives all your allies Menace whenever Rally triggers. Rally is how they keyworded it in the most recent sets that had Ally. This is the original version, just whenever. It's now Rally. Crumble to Dust is basically just for Tron. I'm not 100% in love with this card. I don't want to run something like Molten Rain. because it's a little more taxing on the mana being double red. Crumble to Dust will, exile target land, non-basic land, which is great against Tron, and it goes and gets basically the rest of them out of their deck, which is fantastic. The only caveat is that it's 4 mana, which can be a little hard for us to get to, but not terribly. And then 3 Destructive Revelry, destroy an Destructive Revelry, there we go. Destroy an artifact or enchantment, and it deals 2 damage to that artifact or enchantment's controller. And then our mana base, this is why things like Company can be a little difficult. Ally Encampment only taps for colorless unless you're using it for an ally. But more often than not, you can still get the mana you need, and I think this thing's great. The ability to sacrifice it and pay 1 and return an ally to my hand will save you in some cases. It can definitely be useful. 1 breeding pool. Oh, there we go. 1 breeding pool for the blue for the shapeshifter when I don't have an ally encampment or a Hairbaz Druid. 2 Foundry, 2 Stomping Ground, 2 Temple Garden, 1 Plains and 1 Forest. I'm tempted to run a second Plains. If I wasn't running blue, I probably would be, because you don't want to get Blood Moon locked out of your Blade Masters. And maybe I should be running 1 less Stomping Ground and maybe 1 more Temple Garden. I don't know. That's something you can mess around with. And then 4/4 Windswept Heath, Wooded Foothills. So this is my version, at least, of 4-color allies. I love this deck. It's not always good, but it is a lot of fun, and you can do sort of ridiculous amounts of damage out of nowhere if you really set things up right, which is definitely possible to do. Oh, okay, I had 2 more cards on my sideboard I had forgotten about. 2 copies of Captain's Clause. This is probably not something you're going to run in most cases. I think I was just trying to fill spaces quickly when I rebuilt this version a while back. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you get a 1/1 ally that's tapped and attacking, so that's even more triggers. It can be useful, particularly if you can get it on something like a Blade Master, really get some damage in and start creating more tokens, which creates more damage, which creates more triggers. It's a lot of fun. I think it's a serviceable card, but it's not great. There are probably maybe a 3rd Rest in Peace and another maybe Crumble to Dust or something would be other options. So we're gonna jump into. I'm not gonna run this through any 2-mans or a league or anything right now. I'm just gonna run this through the tournament practice room. So Magic Online has 4 skill levels to choose from in its constructed open play. Just starting out is the very, very basic stuff. There's not a lot of games that get run in here. Just for fun is where most games get run. And it's where you can find a lot more of your fringe formats, Momir Basic, which is hilarious if you've never seen it played. We may try and do a video on that. Momir is a good time. And Commander. And also Standard and Modern, but you're mostly going to see budget decks or very, very fringe decks. Getting Serious, which is a room that frankly doesn't see very much use, as you can see based on the current and past games queue. And then Tournament Practice, you're going to run into a lot of very solid, well-built, often top-tier decks in this room. It's a good place where if you really have something solid built, you need to be running it through Tournament Practice if you're not using ticket queues. And we're going to actually just jump straight. Oh, we got beat out to it. That's unfortunate. Okay, Savage Knuckles. Ooh, Savage Knuckleblade. Shout out to Marshall from Limited Resources. He loved that card. It is a really... Savage Knuckleblade's probably not great, but it's a sweet card, and it's a lot of fun, and I can see why I liked it so much. So we're going to see if we can't make some things happen with 4-color allies. This is an interesting opener. I like having the path there. Free Blade's a great start. Hairbaz Druid and Evangel are great follow-up, so we're definitely going to keep this. Mulligan to 6, Mulligan to 6. Oh, okay. I'm just going to go with the Ally Encampment, save a little life to start out, and drop that Hada Free Blade. So this is where Magic Online shines. When this pops up, you can either just keep clicking OK and take it through your triggers, or you can click on the card, and what you're going to do is always yes, because I always want to get that counter, and always yield. So anytime that ability triggers, it automatically puts the counter on it, and I don't have to click through it each time. That is one of the huge, huge benefits of how they've programmed Magic Online. And I know there's a lot of flack that gets thrown around for some things with how Magic Online works. But the ability to just rush through those triggers like that and not have to worry about them is huge, especially when you're playing a deck like we are. Let's go ahead and Breeding Pool. Take the 2, go ahead and play the Hairbaz Druid since we just drew more land. And we are going to get in for 2 against a... So I'm guessing either Control or maybe Delver or Storm, possibly. Just a Serum Visions and a Flooded Strand. I love the art on the Khans block fetch lands. The dragon skeletons in the background are fantastic. This is just super cool looking. Yeah, so we're just going to hang out, see what our red and blue and possibly more colors opponent is going to do. Hopefully nothing ridiculous. Or we just lose this turn to Storm. That's always a possibility. Storm's a super janky, super dangerous deck. Spire Bluff Canals. Really, really pretty art from the Kaladesh block. And I'm glad Kaladesh got us the other 5 fast lands. I think they call them the fast lands. The unless you control 2 or fewer other lands. We only had half of them up until Kaladesh, and getting that full set has been really nice. It's really okay. Storm, definitely Storm. Also from Kaladesh, Baral, the Chief of Compliance, makes his instants and sorceries cheaper. And whenever he counters a spell or ability, he gets to draw a card and then discard one. This card is super, super good, and Baral is super cool looking. Okay, we hit the company. I am a big fan of that. We're gonna go get. How do I want to do this? We're gonna fetch and go get a Temple Garden. Pay that mana. And then I'm going to go ahead and path Baral because I don't want to deal with him constantly discounting everything. Baral has been huge for Storm. And Storm was a deck that was totally viable without that. So giving them that extra little boost has been big for them, and I really wish they hadn't. I get why they did. Storm is a super cool deck. I don't need it to be faster. So we're going to play our Kabir Evangel, give ourselves protection from red. Doesn't really matter because he has nothing untapped, and they don't play a whole lot of free spells. They don't really want to be taking the turn after that off to pay for those later on. So we'll see what our Storm opponent has for us now. Oh, he actually had the Electromancer and the Baral. Wow. Okay. So Electromancer is very similar. Still makes them all cheaper. I forgot that was a common. Huh. Okay, so he only has 1 blue. Storm doesn't play a ton of counters, so what I'm going to try and do is Dramoka's Command, and I'm actually going to do this with the Kabir Evangel, because it's not as relevant in this matchup. We're going to give it a counter, and we're going to try and fight the Electromancer. Hopefully we don't get countered. If he does anything in response, then we'll go ahead and company in response. If not, we're probably still going to company. Okay, so he is going to remand. I'm going to let him do that, and actually, I'm debating whether or not I want to company here, or I want to... We're going to get the Forest, and I think we're actually... I think we're actually going to run it back using the Hairbaz Druid, because I really don't want to give him the benefit of any extra mana if we don't have to. I know that was not the most mana efficient thing ever, but putting him at 8 with 0 of his discount spells, and he's not really getting where he wants to. We're going to go ahead and play the land tapped, and we're going to go ahead and rumble on in there. Okay, so part of me, he has 6 cards in hand. He could easily have another remand. He did get to draw an extra card off of it. Part of me just wants to company, hope I hit 2 things and win here. And in the interest of doing something stupid and splashy, I think that's actually what I'm going to do. Okay, we hit, and we're going to go Hada Freeblade, Hairbass Druid, any order. And we're going to, and we win. Okay, sweet. That was somewhat risky if he has more counters, particularly if they're not remands. Then we just straight up lose our collected company. Changes we want to make here. Definitely rest in peace. So this is where you would actually want more rest in peace. So they can't flash anything back. Part of me, so traditionally against Storm you want to cut Path, but the fact that he's main decking Baral and Electromancer almost makes me want to leave Path in. I think I'm actually going to cut to Kabira Evangel. While I don't like cutting ally triggers, we still have 29 allies in the deck. And while Evangel can give us protection from red spells, and this is a red deck, so he could have burn, they run very little burn outside of Grape Shot, which is their main kill. We're going to definitely mulligan the one-lander, unfortunately. This is fine. We can totally work with this. We're going to get to go a little crazy with Akum Battle Singers in a couple of turns. While he could easily do that, Kabira Evangel only gives you protection for the turn those allies trigger, so I'd have to have an Evangel in play the turn he tried to Grape Shot me, and then be able to company in response to get allies to get the triggers. It's finicky, and I don't really think it's worth it. Because Rest in Peace definitely is. Being able to prevent him from flashing anything back, from past inflamesing anything, from just doing any of those things that Storm really loves to do to get to where they need to win. And Storm can definitely beat you through a Rest in Peace. I'm pretty sure I've lost to Storm through a Rest in Peace. But if I have the opportunity to make things that much more difficult for them, I'm definitely going to take it. So, part of me wants to play the Hairbass Druid, and then play so that I can play double Battle Singer next turn. Part of me just wants to play a Battle Singer and get him for damage. We're going to play the Druid. I'm going to go a little more conservative, which is probably incorrect because you don't want to give Storm a ton of time. But I think being able to play both of them next turn and maybe do some other stuff as well is what I want to try. That may come back to bite us, but I'm going to play a little more out there because we are up a game, which is definitely not how you should do things. Sort of a do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. So, yeah. And we'll see what he has for us. Okay, so he does have another Electromancer. Or, well, the first one of this game. And those sweet, sweet Unhinged Islands. Those are, my goodness, absolutely beautiful cards. We're going to go Battle Singer. Hopefully he doesn't have a remand because he does technically have that open now. Boop. Triggers. So we have a couple of options here. We can Battle Singer again, or we can Company, which I think is actually what I'm going to do. That's super risky, because again, he could remand, he could Mana Leak. Okay, so he does have a counter. He does just have the remand. That's fine. Not my favorite thing, but we're going to attack with both. And if he wants to trade for the Battle Singer, I definitely don't mind him giving up his Electromancer. Okay, so he just takes it, drops to 12. That's also fine. See what else he's got for us this turn. And what do you have, Mr. Savage Knuckleblade? I would be so happy if this was actually Marshall. Okay, Desperate Ritual. Kids, we're just going to F6 and just sit back and see what happens, because Storm is now going to Storm. We're just going to get, yep, he is, it is time. So, for those of you unfamiliar with Storm, the point of a Storm deck, why it's called a Storm deck, is it constantly adds mana to its deck, constantly draws cards until it has done enough things and built up what is called a storm count to deal a lot of damage or create a bunch of goblin tokens. So that is done with Grape Shot or Empty the Warrens, which once he plays I will show to you guys. What he's doing now is Gifts Ungiven. He finds 4 cards with different names. I choose 2 of them and put them into his graveyard. He puts the rest into his hands. How this works for Storm, it's not really punishing because he has Past in Flames, which allows him to flash back all of his cards, where he can replay them from his graveyard by repaying their mana cost by making a stupid amount of mana. So if I give him the Past in Flames, he replays everything. If not, he makes a bunch more mana and then replays the Past in Flames. I'm going to force him to use his mana, and we're going to put the Past in Flames in his graveyard. And we're going to make him replay the Past in Flames for 1 more expensive by flashing it back. But there's a good chance he's just going to go nuts here, and if he draws enough things and Magic Online's handy little storm counter, we are probably going to lose this turn. If not, I can easily see us winning next turn, but I'm not expecting we're going to get there. That's just sort of how Storm works. And it's a sweet deck, and if he's, if he can go off with it, that's awesome. Oh, he actually has the Brawl as well. Okay. So he is going to flashback Gifts and go at it again. So basically everything he does either makes mana or draws cards or does both. Or is some kind of tutor, like Gifts Ungiven, to go find the pieces he needs to win. Okay, that being Grape Shot. Storm, when you cast this, copy it for each spell played before this turn. You may choose new targets for those copies. So basically he needs to play 18 things and then target us with Grape Shot 18 times, and he wins. So we're going to give him... Past in Flames only counts for the things played before Past in Flames, I think, but I could be wrong about that. We'll see here in a second. So I'm going to put the Grape Shot and that one, and I'm going to put my mouse over the Grape Shot. I may actually be wrong about that. They may actually all get flashback. Pop out the graveyard. There we go. I haven't actually played Storm. I've only ever played against it. But regardless, he's just going to, if I am right, he's just going to dig for another Past in Flames or use one of the Past in Flames in his graveyard. He's only 2 storm count away. He has this one. I'm going to make him do it. Just because you should. But I'm pretty sure he has it. So we're going to give him... Sure. We'll give him those 2. And give him the remand for, fun, I guess. I know some people don't like Storm. I actually don't mind Storm. I think it's a cool deck. Definitely for all the ridiculous things he can do. So he now has 19 copies of Grape Shot on the stack. And all 19 of those are coming at my face. So I'm going to let him do his thing. I will take 19 damage, go to -1, and we will go to game 3. And that's just... Oh, the last one killed me with 1 left on the stack. Okay, that's unfortunate. I want to go to -1. We're actually going to cut the Dramoka's commands because they do very, very little. And I'm actually going to bring in the Lantern Scouts now that I look at it. One option for beating Storm is gaining more life than they can deal back in damage with Grape Shot. This seems fine? Question mark? Yeah, I can work with this. Play the Expedition Envoy down. Next turn we will... I was going to say next turn we'll Battle Singer. I think next turn we may actually Ornreef Survivalist. Which will allow us turn 3 to be able to leave up path for a Baral or a Electromancer and still Battle Singer for even more damage. I think that's where... Oh, hello, friend. Okay, Jwari Shapeshifter. This will more than likely be used to copy a Battle Singer at some point. hopefully in like 2 turns. And we will get in for all of the damage. Okay, so he's going to keep digging for his pieces. I like that he only has blue mana right now. Most of his mana production comes from red. So as long as he's staying on just islands, I'm a little more comfortable. Okay, so that's... I really want to play the Blade Master, but I think we need to start attacking. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and Battle Singer. Hit for 9. Have lethal on the board. Well, not actually lethal. That's only 6 on the board, but with more triggers in our hand. And what will probably happen, assuming I don't just lose here, which again, it's Storm, it's entirely possible. Okay, so he plays the Baral. That does not mean we're safe. Turn off auto yields. Okay. Yes, before he gets too high a storm count, which I've already let him do, one reason you don't want to just auto yield to storm necessarily is when you can kill his Baral, which I should have done before he generated a bunch of that mana with more free spells. So we're just going to drop that into the stack. And now we're going to click F6. That's my bad. I let those triggers get ahead of me. I haven't played much Magic Online recently because I've been playing so much Pokemon. And I should have kept a closer eye on that. And he has the Electromancer. That's deeply unfortunate. We may just lose here. Now, he only has 2 cards in hand. He may not find what he needs. That is one possibility and one issue Storm runs into. Now, he's paying a bunch of mana. That's interesting. Okay. Yep. Past in Flames. So many triggers. So much mana. I don't think... Wow, that was fast. I don't actually think pathing Baral earlier would have made much of a difference. It looks like he basically had what he needed. But in general, if you have the opportunity to stop a player's combo, you should definitely do it as soon as possible. So we're probably going to get another match or two with this. Hope you guys enjoy it. Welcome back, guys. We're going to get another game with 4-color allies in Modern here on Magic Online. I know this is not my usual Pokemon, but I'm not sure what TMNT means here. I'm going to just assume it means Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because I don't understand all of you kids and your slang words. I'm just going to be honest. I know have fun and good luck have fun and good game and you too and I know things like that. But and noob, I guess spelled that correctly. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If it means something else, feel free to tell me I am an old man in the comments. Well, we wait to see if Brandon is going to mulligan to 6. He seems to heavily be considering it. And now I really want to know if he's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. We're just going to go ahead and play this Windswept Heath, and I'm going to go ahead and crack it. That's probably incorrect, but I want to go ahead and get this out here. The one way this will bite is if he plays something like Ghost Quarter and immediately burns us. Ooh, okay. So I'm making a very heavy assumption off of the fact he played a single forest, which I really like that Amonkhet Nicol Bolas forest. That's really pretty. And a Dryad Militant. But this says one of 2 things. Green-White Hate Bears, which doesn't play a ton of forests, or Mono Green Stompy, which is a very, very budget deck that I super love. It plays a lot of little green creatures and a lot of pump spells, and it can actually be really good. Has some very solid matchups, plays really well against some stuff. And I really hope that's what it is, and I think methinks Magic Online has frozen. And Magic Online has actually fully died. That is unfortunate. That hasn't happened in a while. So we're going to jump straight back in to Magic Online and sign back in and jump back into our match, which it should have saved for us. That thankfully Magic Online will hang on to your active battles should you have to drop for whatever reason. So we will jump right back in to our match and hope it didn't horribly jump through my turn or anything. That would be unfortunate. Once it loads back in, we should be back in and good to go. Go to the play lobby. Now sometimes it will. Okay, sometimes it'll auto restart the game for you. It does not appear that it is treating our game as being active any longer, which is unfortunate because I actually really wanted to play against Mono Green Stumpy. So we're going to go ahead and pick up this game against this lovely person from somewhere, and we're going to try again. That's just a thing that happens with Magic Online every once in a while, and with most computer softwares every once in a while things crash. So we will give it another shot. This is a totally serviceable hand. We will definitely keep this. Ondu Cleric, when you don't know what you're against, is not the best card, but I think it's definitely a good starting place. 2 Hot of Free Blades is definitely okay. Shapeshifter's fine copying one of those two. I'd prefer it copy a Kazandu Blade Master or an Akum Battle Singer, maybe. But this seems totally fine. We're just going to Temple Garden and play that first Hot of Free Blade, auto yield to all those triggers, and pass the turn, and see what our opponent is playing. Never seen that avatar before. That's pretty cool, actually. Some kind of tribal archer thing. That's sweet. Ooh, mountain. Just straight up. What is this? What art is this from? M15. That's cool. I like that. Suspends Rift Bolt. Okay, so we're playing against Burn. So, definitely not playing the fetch land here, or the shock land. That would be a big mistake. I don't want to take any more damage than I need to. I really want to play the Ondu Cleric, but he's just going to pop that with the Rift Bolt. So what I'm going to do is, I actually am going to play the Sacred Foundry, but I'm going to play it tapped. I'm going to play the other Free Blade, auto yield to its triggers as well. Let him pick off one of those with his Rift Bolt, and then try and find an opening where I can go Ondu Cleric, Jwari Shapeshifter, copy Ondu Cleric, and see if we can't outpace the amount of damage he can do to us and our creatures. Oh, Inspiring Vantage. Okay. So another one of the Kaladesh lands. We're just going to play the Sacred Foundry tapped and pass, so that next turn I can play Ally Encampment, play the Cleric, and play the Shapeshifter. That may be risky. I do like in the sideboard that we do have 2 Lantern Scout. Get us a little more... Oh, Monastery Swiftspear, Monastery... Oh, mercy. Ooh. Okay. We do hit a Path to Exile, which I'm a huge fan of. Part of me wants to Path Goblin Guide. Giving our opponent a 4th land's really not that big a deal. Burn doesn't use that much mana anyway. And it's going to save us some damage. Actually, if anything, I need to pop one of the Monastery Swiftspears. But I really want to play the Cleric and the Shapeshifter. Oh, mercy. Okay, we're going to do it. We're going to play the Cleric. We're going to gain a life. And then we're going to play the Shapeshifter, copying the Cleric. Gain some more life. Auto yield us some more triggers. Go back up to 16. Hope he doesn't just have a bunch of burn spells for the Cleric so that we can keep gaining more life. That would be fantastic. And next turn, probably Path of Swiftspear. We could just also be dead here because I'm definitely not blocking. So if he has What is our top card? Our top card is a Forest. Okay. If he just has enough pump to kill us here, that's great for him. I'm just going to let all this through. That's a little risky, since I'm assuming this is probably, what, Boros Charm? It is Boros Charm. So we're going to take a bunch. We're going to take... We are at 1, and we drew a land, which is actually not terrible. Okay. Go with me on this journey. Huh. How many weird things can I do here? Okay, we're definitely going to path one of those. And in an effort to gain at least a little more life, we are going to return the Jawari Shapeshifter Cleric to our hand. Oh, and I did that in a way that doesn't give me the mana for the blue. Should have set the other ally encampment. That is a mistake on my part. So we are actually just dead here. Okay, what I should have done, that's super awkward, was pay for it with not the second ally encampment, because I need that to make the blue to replay the Shapeshifter, or do the exact same thing I did, but bounce the original Cleric, replay it, and then it doesn't matter which lands I keep up. So that's my bad. I was not paying attention when I tapped my lands there. That was my mistake. Once again, I think I'm just cutting the... No, we're definitely cutting the Mirror Entity first. And then I think we're cutting an Evangel as well. They are expensive. 3 is basically the top of our curve outside of company. Okay. This seems fantastic. 1 drop into 2 drop into Cleric into hopefully company. This is great. Hopefully I will use my ally encampments correctly again. On the one hand, that was definitely not how I should have tapped my lands. On the other hand, we were definitely still dead either way, but that's no excuse for not playing correctly. Okay, what we're going to do, actually, I'm going to go ahead and Blade Master, and he is definitely going to Rift Bolt that, but that allows me to keep the Free Blade alive, unless he has another burn spell, so I think that's what we're going to go after. And should he Rift Bolt the Free Blade, then I just have the Blade Master black to block basically anything he attacks with, but I'm pretty sure... Okay, so he's actually just going to kill both of them, which is fine. Magic Online lagging a little bit. Or that may just be my computer trying to run Magic Online and OBS at the same time. Magic Online is a very intensive program sometimes, and OBS is no slouch. So, okay, just Swift Spear. Still 4 cards in hand. Ooh. Okay. That's interesting. I'm going to go ahead and take 2 in an effort to either get an ally on the board or give him another target for his burn spells so that he doesn't throw them at me. And we just hope we draw a land next turn because we're super not blocking here. I'm pretty sure he's going to attack. It's burn. He's going to attack. Oh, and immediately in the attack step. Okay. Bolts it. That's fine. I'd like to hit a land so that I can do the same thing I did last game. Play the Shapeshifter and the Cleric. Sweet. We are going to have to take 2, which is not my favorite thing in the world, but that's okay. We're going to play the Cleric. And should we get to keep both of these alive, which admittedly is not something I'm super expecting to happen, but if we do and we get to company next turn, we could gain a whole lot of life. So he does let us play and retarget, so that's sweet. We're going to go all the way back up to 18. See if he can deal an absolutely absurd amount of damage again this turn. Oh, Eidolon. Okay. So whenever a player casts a spell with converted mana cost 3 or less, Eidolon deals 2 damage to them. So that also deals damage to him. not just us. Now, since he has no mana up to destroy either of our clerics, we're just going to go ahead and company right now. And, oh, okay, sweet. We hit the Blade Master, which is definitely what I wanted. Best thing we could have hit for blocking. The decision for me now is, do I want the Oran Reef Survivalist to get another big creature, or do I want the Battle Singer to eventually start getting in for higher amounts of damage? We're going to also gain a bunch of life. I'm going to take the Battle Singer. We're going to put those in any order. We're going to put a bunch of triggers on the stack. The most important part of that was that we got to company and gained a bunch of life with all our Ondu clerics left. And we're at 34 and he concedes. Okay, so Ondu cleric, Jawari shapeshifter, copying Ondu cleric, collect a company, gain a bunch of life, is a way to beat Burn. Burn is great at dealing a lot of damage very quickly. But it's sort of a... It's a very specific amount of damage. Like, Burn can easily deal 16 to 20 damage. They're going to have a hard time after they've used several burn spells dealing 34. So that benefits us. I kept this on a bit of a whim. It's not great to have only one white mana with a Blade Master in your hand. But I think I want to keep a high ally count, and I'm pretty sure he's just going to Rift Bolt to our face here. No, he is going to take the Envoy. Okay. That is sweet. Saves our life total a little bit. Lava Spike to the face. Alright, we're going to go ahead and play the Oran Reef Survivalist into what I'm expecting to be another burn spell. I expect he's, going to crack the foothills here and probably Lightning Bolt this Survivalist. But again, another burn spell that's not going at our face. And we still have... No, I don't want to use the ability. Triggers. They still go on the stack even if the creature's not there anymore. We still have 27 more creatures. He does not have 27 more burn spells. Probably. Maybe. Maybe he does. That's possible. Okay, so he is the full Naya version of Burn. The green being mostly for artifact removal. We are at 9. And yeah, that's about all there is to it. We're at 9. And this is Burn doing what Burn does, and I am in sometimes a Burn player, so I understand. That's a shame. Okay. Lifeline. Ondu Cleric, go. Going back up to 5. Alright. That probably doesn't help us at all, but it's worth a shot. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and attack. He only has 2 cards in hand. This is the weird part where I'm sort of priced into blocking so I don't die, but really don't want to block. No blocks. He doesn't have it. He definitely has it. He definitely had it. And that's the game. So another not super great showing from allies. I mean, you got to see it do its crazy gain 16 life in a turn, shut down burn thing. Still didn't quite get there, though. I'm going to have to seriously consider how I handle this. Okay. Alright, we're going to take this game against what I think is the Mimeoplasm avatar. I think that's the Mimeoplasm. I'm not sure. It is definitely cool looking. Ooh, okay. Mulligan. Definitely mulligan. Sure. This would actually be a great land if... There would be a great hand if this was a 7 with a, like, Windswept Heath right here. This would be fantastic. And I would snap keep this. This is a mistake. We're going to keep it. We are not... We already decided not to mulligan to 5. I don't really know why. Oh, sweet mercy. We're going to put that Wooded Foothills on top and probably get a little rewarded for what was probably an incorrect keep. Okay, tapped Steam Vents. Wooded Foothills. We're going to go ahead and play the Ally Encampment. Drop down the Hada Free Blade. And go and yield to those triggers. And pass the turn to our at least blue-red opponent and see what happens. So, Grixis, Delver, Storm. Storm. This is Storm. Okay, Storm is very popular right now, which does not surprise me. Baral is very new. Baral is very, very good. So there is nothing that just straight up prevents my opponent from just beating us next turn. So we're just going to try and get as much of a presence on the board as we can, and one of the best ways to do that is with Kazandu Blademaster. And we're going to see if we can't keep drawing lands, and maybe our opponent draws Stone Nothing, and we can beat Storm. Definitely bring in the Rest in Peace out of the sideboard, because Storm. Huh. Second one that straight up plays Electromancer, because this is not the same guy we played earlier. Very interesting. Okay. Baral is very new and makes this deck very, very good. As does the addition of Spire Bluff Canals. Oh, mercy. It is time, apparently. Oh, this is the original print of Steam Vince. That's cool. Gifts Ungiven. Our opponent is second main phase, turn 3. It is time. It is time for him to do things. So I'm going to give him... Okay. We're going to give him those two. I definitely don't know what I'm supposed to give Storm off of Gifts Ungiven, because I'm not sure there's a correct answer. I'm sure there is in terms of mana efficiency look at things, but I'm not really sure there's actually a correct answer in terms of what you give Storm. So we're just going to let him do his thing. Second Electromancer. Okay. So basically everything's free now. Past in Flames only costs 2. Gifts Ungiven only costs 2. Past in Flames Flashback only costs 3. Yep, Storm. Just Storm stuff. Just, yeah. So what I should have done is a deck tech for Storm and just cut out that middle game and just pretend like I'm the person on the other side and show you guys how Storm works. Because you've definitely gotten to see that with these videos. We will give you those two. Sure. Just kind of let Storm do its... Oh, wow, he's going to Grape Shot now? That is not a high enough Storm count to kill me. Unless he's going to play something else in between some of these triggers. That's definitely not enough Grape Shots to kill me, I don't think. Yeah, that is super not enough Grape Shots to kill me. Interesting. Oh, he flashed it back. Okay. Touche, opponent. That is definitely... 31 is enough Grape Shots to kill me. Whew. I wondered what he was doing. Okay, he was just going to flash it back. Interesting. That's not the way I expected him to do that, but okay. So we're going to get rid of the Dromoka's commands, because they do basically stone nothing, except, I guess, technically fight the Electromancers and Barals. But I think that's a bit too corner case to run them when we need to make space for Lantern Scout to hopefully gain enough life to outgo Storm. And I'm still going to leave in the Path to Exiles on the off chance I hit them to get rid of Baral and the Electromancer, and also just because there's not a ton of other things I want to bring in. So fantastic. We actually have a Path, an Ondu Cleric, and a Shapeshifter, and other things. Sweet. If I just like top deck land into Rest in Peace, I will be super happy with this. Because we can shut off his Electromancer or his Baral as long as we don't F6 through it again like we did last time. We're just going to pretend like that didn't happen. He can't Baral and go off next turn. So we're going to actually go ahead and play the Ondu Cleric and try and start outpacing his ability to gather a high enough Storm count to kill us. And we will see what he is going to do next. Hopefully Hopefully, actually. Hopefully he just plays a Baral and passes. Okay, no. He's going to sleight of hand. Because if he just played a Baral and passed, we were definitely going to pass to exile Baral and then probably play the Freeblade. Gain a couple more life. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 here, as it is currently my intention to undo. Do it that way. We're going to go ahead and Shapeshifter, copy the Undo Cleric, yield to that trigger, play the Hada Freeblade. So in some cases you're going to want to play the Freeblade first so that you do get a second trigger of its ability, making it larger. But in this case, I just want to gain as much life as possible and put Storm as far on the back foot as I can. So I want the extra Undo Cleric trigger to gain 3 more life instead of the trigger to just gain... I'd rather gain 5 life and only get 1 counter on Freeblade than gain 3 life and get 2 counters. So I'm just going to go ahead and go on the assumption that his Scalding Tarn and Electromancer isn't going to give him Remand. And I'm just going to go ahead and immediately path this. Okay, sweet. That is what happened. Now we are putting him up a land, but I don't really care. I'd rather put him up 1 extra basic than all of the discounts he's going to get from Electromancer. And we're going to play this Oran Reef Survivalist. Gain some more life. See what he does with his Scalding Tarn here. He may play things like Lightning Bolt. He does not. Okay. Or he may still play Lightning Bolt, but he is just going to get that Steam Vents tapped. And we're going to go to 37, take him down to 14, and there's a possibility instead of his Grape Shot, he is now playing Empty the Warrens, which is another Storm card that for 4 gives you 1 Goblin for each Storm count you have. A 1/1 Goblin for each Storm count. He could be trying to go that route. Or he could still be trying to build up enough to Grape Shot us. That is also a possibility. I like our odds at 37 much better than I like our odds at 17. And in that vein of just gaining a bunch more life, we're going to go ahead and play this Kabira Evangel. Give the whole team protection from red because, sure, why not? But most importantly, make our creatures a little bit bigger and gain 5 more life. No, I'm sorry. I think it's actually going to end up being 10 more life. I think we're actually just going to go to 57 here, if he doesn't kill one of the clerics. 47. Okay, it was just 5 more life for each. That was 5 life for each. Math. Math is hard sometimes, guys. Being an adult is hard. Math is hard. But triggers are not hard because Magic Online is awesome. I do admire the fact our Storm opponent is going to try and grind this out. We are at... Oh, it's time. It is Storm time. He is going for it. And what you could see is a Storm count of like 16 or 17, Grape Shot, flashback Grape Shot, then you get that whole Storm count again. He would have to do that several times since we are at 47, but, I mean, it is within the realms of possibility for Storm to hit those numbers if everything runs cleanly. Now, he did just bolt the Oran Reef Survivalist, which is interesting. Okay, so he is actually just going to repeatedly cast Lightning Bolt. Interesting. Past in Flames, Lightning Bolt again. Twice. Presumably. And I'm guessing this time kill both Undo Clerics. You're not seeing most of this happen because a lot of it's happening in his graveyard. And I have F6'd, which auto yields me taking any actions and just lets my opponent finish out their turn unless I choose to turn off auto yields. In which case I can respond again. Okay, so he is Empty the Warrens. Okay, sweet. So he now has 24 Goblin tokens. And yeah, that is a thing. That is a position we are in now. So that technically has us dead in 2 turns. Now, thankfully, we do still have our Ondu Cleric, which is going to continue to gain us all sorts of life. We're going to go ahead and play this Reckless Bushwhacker for its search cost. I have no intention of attacking. Yeah, I have no intention of attacking. We're just going to pass the turn at 54, block some of his goblins, and go from there. Because he technically can't even attack out. He still has to leave enough goblins back to block us. Or not. Or not. Okay, maybe he is. I thought he was just going to go super all in there. He's going to leave back quite a few of his goblins. That is fantastic. So he is swinging for 18. I'm definitely keeping the Cleric alive. Part of me wants to keep the Bushwhacker alive, but I think I'm going to go ahead and block. Save a damage. We're going to stay at 39. He plays the Baral. Okay, sweet. We hit the land. We're going to go to 37. And we are going to pay all that mana. We're going to collect a company and hope he does not have a remand. Fantastic. Going to play a Blade Master. And we're going to get another Shapeshifter. Choose a creature. We're going to copy onto Cleric again. We're going to put those back on the bottom in any order. We're going to put a bunch of triggers on the battlefield and put those on the stack. Gain a whole metric crap ton of life. And yes. Okay. Sit back at 57 and he concedes. Okay. Sweet. He could have kept playing that out, try and whittle us down and eventually get through there. But as long as he's not killing the Ondu Clerics, we just keep gaining enough life to stay ahead of him. Eventually we would build up a board and probably be able to kill him. And he's just going to save his clock time and go for game 3. So if we can do that again, that would be fantastic. He definitely went for it, and he definitely did shrink our board down some. So I'm going to keep this because it is a very playable hand. Part of me just wants to mulligan until I find an Ondu Cleric, but that's super risky, so we're just going to go with what's in front of us and hope it gets us there. Make sure I don't auto-yield through my turn as well. Auto-yielding to the turn at the wrong time can cause you to miss your entire turn. Magic Online will stop at your attack step because it doesn't want you to accidentally miss everything, but you can definitely auto-pass through the rest of your turn if you are not careful. And it will auto-pass your attack step if you don't have any creatures. So be very careful you don't F6 or auto-yield through just everything. That will definitely cause you some problems. So I'd be super happy right now if we weren't playing against Storm. The fact we're playing against Storm means we could just lose here because I don't have any life gain or any disruption. Okay. And that is all he has. Okay. So we're going to play... I'm going to forgo the Jwari Shapeshifter. Instead, play the Hot of Freeblade and the Reckless Bushwhacker and present my opponent with a whole lot of damage that he has to deal with right now. So he is going to Misty. Hopefully not go get... Okay, just going to get a blue source. That is fine. Okay, and he's going to remand the Bushwhacker. That is kind of okay. So he's going to drop down to 8, and we have put him in a position where he needs to win this turn or eliminate our creatures, or he's going to be in a lot of trouble next turn. We can easily just play the Kabira Evangel, give ourselves protection from red. Electromancer can't block, and that will be enough. We also have several other creatures. So we'll see what he has. He has 6 cards in hand. He has the Electromancer to make everything cheaper, and still 2 mana, so he can definitely get there. That is definitely... You guys have seen Storm go off a bunch this morning, because it's very popular right now. Plays a second Electromancer. Okay, this makes me think, yeah, he's just passing, and he's going to attempt to block. We are hopefully... I'm just going to get that Breeding Pool tapped. We are hopefully not going to let him do that, and I'm going to play the Kabir Evangel. Hope he doesn't remand it. And give my whole team protection from either red or blue. And get in there for a whole lot. And we're going to click OK. What do you have, opponent? Okay, so he's actually just going to go ahead and bolt the Blade Master. So that will keep him alive. Oh, and he concedes. Oh, because that actually won't keep him alive. We would have actually had enough on both Free Blades and the protection from red. That wins us the game. Sweet. Okay, we're going to get one more. Hopefully finish out 2-2. And yeah, I'm much happier that we are now 1-1 against Storm than just being 0-1 or 0-2 to Storm. This is absolutely fine. We're going to crack that Wooded Foothills. I'm probably going to go ahead and do it this turn and go ahead and go get a Temple Garden. Yeah, this is sweet. Play the Free Blade. Depending on what our opponent does, probably, honestly, just play any of our 2-drops next turn. They are all serviceable. Yeah. Serviceable options. There we go. Got there. This is what happens when you record videos after a 10-hour night shift. Yeah. Words stop being the correct words. It happens sometimes. Another blue opponent. We have seen a lot. Curse Catcher. Okay, so this is Merfolk. Cool. I don't play against Merfolk very often. Merfolk is a sweet deck. So, in theory, I could tell you Merfolk is another creature deck. It sort of is. Actually, I'm going to cancel that. Part of me wants to play the Blade Master. Part of me wants to... We're actually going to go ahead and play the Herabraz Druid, actually. And just try and get real close to dumping our hand next turn. Especially if we draw a land. Merfolk is a creature deck in that it plays creatures and wins usually with creatures, but it's a very controlling, tempo-y creature deck. And those creatures aren't going to get just monstrous. Okay, and he's going to Spreading Seas. Interesting. Okay, so I'm definitely glad I played the Herabaz Druid there. Spreading Seas makes whichever land it enchants an island, and only an island. So this lovely Temple Garden is now just an island. That's fine, because we have the Herabaz Druid and the Ally Encampment. So I feel okay. I think what we're going to do... Yes, okay, we're going to actually... I was considering playing the Ondu Cleric, but I don't see a reason to. We're actually going to play the Survivalist, which will give us 3 allies. And some more fun triggers. And then we're going to use the Herabaz Druid to make white. And play this Kazandu Blade Master. Everybody get big. And this Hada Free Blade. And okay, so this is one of the reasons. This is one of the times where Herabaz Druid is fantastic. You know, allowing us to be at 5 creatures on turn 3, and you know, so much power. You know, even with him having Spreading Seas us, makes Herabaz Druid fantastic. So now we're going to get in for 5, jump him down to 13 and pass, and let him figure out what to do next. Also, shout out to Corbin Hostler, who is the main person I associate with playing... Okay, yeah, dismember. The main person I associate with playing Merfolk. Corbin loves this deck. I believe he works for the Wizards coverage team, and he's on podcasts like Brainstorm Brewery. He does a lot of modern videos on YouTube. Super cool guy. And he's a big fan of Merfolk. So we're going to go ahead and tap our Harabash Druid. We're going to go ahead and path the Curse Catcher just to get out of the way. If he wants to sacrifice it to counter it, that's fine. Accomplishes the same thing. Play that Hada Freeblade. Get oh so many more triggers. And we'll see if our opponent has something in response. Because I believe otherwise, yes, we do have enough power. That is that game. Okay, sideboarding versus Merfolk. We're going to get a path. And I genuinely don't know what else. Part of me wants Crumble to Dust to get rid of Mutavault. Part of me wants Destructive Revelry or maybe Stony Silence to turn off Aether Vial. Not a lot else seems relevant. Rest in Peace definitely isn't. I think we're just going to put in the third path and we're going to run it like this. See what Merfolk has for us in game 2. Okay, yeah, sweet. That is awesome. Hada Freeblade into Blade Master into Dramoka's Command. Put some counters on and fight you in the face. And a company for hopefully later on. Sweet. This hand is awesome. This is great. I'm a big fan of this opener. We're going to see where it takes us. We definitely need to draw a couple more land in the coming turns. But this is a very solid start I'm very happy with. What do you have for us? Okay, Silvergill Adept. This is an interesting card. This is one of the Lorwyn Merfolk. Only costs 2 for a 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. But you have to reveal a Merfolk from your hand or pay an extra 3. So, I mean, 2 mana for a 2/1 that draws you a card is totally fine. If you can do it for that price. So as long as they have that other Merfolk in their hand, Silvergill is a great card. And we're going to make the Hada Freeblade too big to safely block. We're going to rumble on in there. We did draw a second Collected Company, and as much as I like seeing all the Collected Companies possible, we're definitely going to need to hit a couple more lands soon, or maybe a Harabash Druid or 2 to get us to that point. But I'm still happy with where we are. We still have some things we can do with the extra Freeblade and the Oran Reef Survivalist. And yeah, see what Merfolk has for us with their Mutavault. Oh wow, that's an original Mutavault too. That's oh, I'm gonna get this wrong. I think it's Morning Tide is that symbol. I may have that wrong, but I really think that's the Morning Tide symbol. It's been a long time. That set was not super long after I started playing Magic, actually. 3/2 with Island Walk. We have no islands, and I have a 2/2 with First Strike. Okay, yeah. I may be totally missing something, but I'm pretty sure that's a free block for us. Yeah, okay, sweet. I kind of thought that was the case, but I wasn't positive. We're going to go ahead and Battle Singer. And if he wants to trade the Battle Singer for the Master of the Pearl Trident, I will totally let him do that. That is just fine, because that gets us in for 8. If not, that gets us in for even more. Unless he wants to chump block, which he could. But yeah, he's just going to take 10, go to 8, and we will see what he's got for us now. Oboro. Palace in the Clouds. This is a gorgeous card. Threads of Disloyalty. Okay. Kamigawa block enchantment. Enchant creature with confirmed mass 2 or less. You control enchanted creature. So he now gets our Kazandu Blade Master. He does have no way of pumping it, which is good. But he does have a 3/3 with First Strike to block with now. And he's actually going to go ahead and rumble in with the Master. Okay. So we definitely need to hit some more lands soon. Okay, what can we do here? Actually, what we're going to do it... Oh, okay. Jamelka's Command. Love that card. Target player sacrifices an enchantment. So, that's unfortunate. We're going to go in Dramoka's Command, have him sack an enchantment, and put a +1/+1 counter on... actually, no. We're going to have him sack an enchantment, and we're going to fight the Master of the Pearl Trident with the Heart of Freeblade. So, he sacks an enchantment, Freeblade fights Master of the Pearl Trident in the face, and hopefully we get our Blade Master back and he has no creatures left. Except for, in theory, his Mutavault. But not this turn. Sweet. Okay. We're going to get in for only 4, because we did just get Blade Master back. But that puts him at 4. 5 cards in hand, but nothing on the board except the Mutavault, so hopefully we are in a good position right now. I know Merfolk is capable of a lot of very frustrating things, being a tempo deck. He has the second Threads. Okay, fair enough. That is, yeah. They probably sideboard 2 or 3 of these. And he's going to attack with the Mutavault. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we have some options here. We do have 3 of our collected company, which is not my favorite thing in the world. Okay, so what we're gonna do, okay, actually, and this is the beautiful thing about allies and triggers and all sorts of ridiculous things. We're going to make the Freeblade big enough that he has to block it. Meaning the Battle Singers are big enough to kill him. And yeah. Okay, sweet. So actually drawing that second Battle Singer is going to get us there. Because he can chub the Freeblade, and we win. Okay, fantastic, guys. That was awesome. So, finished 2-2. I was a little worried when this started how this was going to go after we lost the first 2 games to Storm, and I don't even remember what the second one was. Huh. And then almost got to play against Stompy, which I was kind of excited for. But we had the Magic Online crash, came back, beat a second Storm player, and beat a Merfolk player. So that was fun. Storm and Merfolk are both very good Modern decks, and I'm glad we got a win in against both of them. That was cool. So we appreciate you guys joining us today for a little Magic the Gathering Online with 4-color allies. Shout out to Jawari Shapeshifter and Ondu Cleric for pulling us through. Burn was the other one. Ondu. So much life. Okay, so we appreciate you guys joining us. Delinquent Velociraptor Media, make sure you comment on this video, like, and subscribe to the channel for more Magic the Gathering and Pokemon TCG content. We got more stuff coming for you guys soon from me and Netstrider and Full Metal Hoyt. I think Full Metal Hoyt has a Commander deck tech for you guys soon. And I'm sure Netstrider either has some more Magic Duels or more Pokemon for you guys. And I'll probably head back to Pokemon, get you guys maybe some more standard gameplay. I'm thinking maybe Sylveon again. And we'll see how that goes. We appreciate you guys. Have a good one.